Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday the 3rd of August. So let's have a look at the markets then this morning. Firstly, let's look at the risk events that are going to be happening today. Well, I've already seen some of this data released. Let's just do a refresh on here. So, come on. There we go. So trade balance for Australia was better than expected. Inflation for Swiss inflation minus 0.1. How many people would like that, eh? OPEC meetings are starting today. More importantly for the Bank of England is the Bank of England meeting. It's expected that we'll see another 0.25% increase, taking the Bank of England rate up to 5.5. There's still expectations beyond that. Any sort of notes that come out in the summary will be more important than the very fact that this has gone up to 5.25 as expected. It's people are looking for the forward guidance here. Okay, we got the Bank of England governor speaking there at 12:30, so it could be a lively one for the pound around 12 o'clock, 12:30 onwards for a while. I'd expect some volatility there, so be careful with the pound. US unemployment claims not really a great mover, although yesterday we saw the ADP figures come out better than expected, but I was taking a look at these and comparing them with the non-farms, and well, they're still as useful as a chocolate teapot by looks of things. They often see positives here, negatives in the actual reality, so it looks like if you're looking to trade the non-farms, you might as well just trade the non-farms and leave the ADP well alone. Okay, so we got talking of non-farms, we've got that of course tomorrow, so something to look forward to there. Might see a quieter afternoon, but yeah, we'll see that when it comes. Anyway, let's have a look at these markets. We'll start off looking at the euro dollar. And euro dollar, this is a weekly picture, let's get to a daily, it'll be good. There we go. It's broken, well, it tested its trend line, pulled back, finally broke the near term trend line, and now is pretty much into its lower trend line. Now, morning Mike, morning guys. Lower highs coming through, we already know that. It's still looking relatively soft. It has already on the weeklies here caught the weekly pivot and the weekly S1, but daily wise here we're sort of in no man's land at the moment. Looks like the S1's a good possibility as it's shaping up at the moment for a continuation, and maybe S2. The big white line across the bottom here is a quarterly pivot, so we've got that to take into account as well. Maybe that would be a good point to be watching for. In fact, let's come back to the 4 hourlies. That's that quarterly pivot there. What sort of effect has it been having previously? An early test of it, not really done too much around it yet, but we'll see. If I was short, I would be looking for just above that as a target to exit at least part of the trade. Okay, enough on the euro. Let's zip through some of these others then. The pound, same picture here, downward trend, lower highs, lower lows, looking for retracements to sell into normally. But we got the non-farms, we got the Bank of England meeting later, so let's not bother. US dollar yen, well, this is continuing to get the kicker towards the upside. Talking about the Gartley sort of pattern there yesterday, where it's broke, it stalled, it started working, but it's sort of, I say broken, but we've pushed up again since then. Higher lows coming through here. It didn't put a lower high in at this point here on this higher time frame. I think it did on the shorter time frame here, but never really went to much there. So it's just like a little ABC retracement and part of the bigger move. Anyway, we'll see how big a move this goes. If it gets back to the 145 area at some stage, apart from it being a double top, I would expect it to stall a little bit there. It's quite a key number out there. Aussie dollar. The Aussies continued to fall yesterday, selling off a little bit this morning. It's in this sort of relatively strong downward trend now. It's quite a clear trend, maybe slowing up a little bit, but what for this morning? Well, this is similar to the euro actually, in terms of we haven't hit the daily pivot yet. A breakdown towards the S1 could see further. The only difference here is our quarterly pivots above, so it's already in a bearish state. So lower highs, lower lows, very clear to see. Right, Aussie. That was the Aussie, the US dollar, CAD. So eventually, yesterday we saw more of a break clear of this previous consolidation. We're not too far off of, in fact, let's just put the cursor across here, some resistance from these previous highs, body lows and body highs that's sitting around that area. But it's, from what we can see here, well, it dodged the move from the ascending channel, and it's, well, continuing to push up there. As I said, I think it was yesterday that it did a perfect sort of retrace to the upper line here, which generally does nothing, upper channel, and then it's broken off. I mean, yeah, so positive at the moment on there. Again, like the others, if it hits the R1, chances are it might run into its R2 the way it's going. Of course, at some point these things are going to slow down. It's just when is the question. So make sure you've got momentum with you when you're taking the trades. Or consolidation, then a breakout. New Zealand dollar, like the Aussie, selling off. Very similar picture here. Solid downward movement here all the way through. Again, same picture of it's below its daily pivot. Looks like it's heading towards the S1, maybe even further towards the S2. It's yeah, clearly on the downside at the moment. Okay, US dollar Swissy. Now I've taken a long on this US dollar Swissy, which is always a bit risky, he says, because it is below the bigger trend line here, but it's shown enough for me to see it structurally changing in the lower time frames, the 4-hourly time frame here. So yesterday I did only a half size position. I will add into it. It's I'm looking for much more. If it continues up here, if this dollar continues to rise, I will trail the stop, but it's sort of like an 80 pip trailing stop, so got a lot to do yet, but certainly a bit more positive again this morning. I expect it to be see some frequency within the waves, and they might, if they start getting a bit closer, well, it might have a bigger correction. But either way, I'm looking for a bigger movement on this price action to the upside. I know it's just run. Yesterday it ran into its 34 there. That was just the way it happens. It's got to run into these moving averages at some time. Next stage, if it can break that, of course, is this previous low. There's a pivot there as well. It's the S1, quarterly S1. Sorry, no, yearly S1 sitting below there. Okay. So as I say, already bullish on that. You could join the party at any stage really. At the moment it's around the same sort of price levels. If you're feeling bullish on it, if your analysis also tells you it's alongside, I'm also looking at the big money. The big money started moving into the Swissy, to the dollar Swiss, shorting the Swiss, going long dollar effectively. Euro yen. Euro yen, it's quite a pig's ear really when you're looking at things here. There is a bit of a channel sort of developing, and that might be what we see. And if we get that channel developing, I'd rather be looking for the break of the upside of it, because it's an upward movement. So there's it's only over a couple of days at the moment. It might take a little bit longer to develop, but there is a channel developing there. Euro pound, just for interest, well, this is going same old, isn't it? the euro just chipping in on the pound a little bit. That's because it knows I'm booked a flight to Paris in a few weeks' time. It's alright, I've already got my money. Right, Euro Aussie. It's not only broken out, it's properly broken out yesterday of this channel I wanted, and it's I mean, for the channel itself, it's probably slightly more than halfway. We're looking for that to be fully worked out. We're looking up at this sort of 69.50 odd area. So that's underway effectively. So it's been a clear old move this week, pushing up there strongly. Daily wise again, it's as it sits at the moment, short term. Looking at short term possibilities on it, it's consolidating here at some stage from this little old movement. You could see another break to the upside looking through the R1, R2. Right, Euro CAD. Chopping away here. I was looking yesterday, I had an alert set on this, I missed it. It did break, which I was looking for the channel that's starting to develop here, looking to play that. It could still become a play today. I'm looking at it as it sort of sits at the moment, and we could see a continuation to the breakdown towards its S1 and maybe further. So there's a possibility there. Pound Aussie, not really doing too much on this. It's broken, it's consolidated, still breaking towards the upside there, just slightly stronger. Not a lot to be done on that. Pound CAD. The pound CAD, I talked about this yesterday about wedges, and this was a classic wedge where it's broken out, pulled back in, and taken out what would have been stops for some people here. So it only has when you're looking at wedges, I only have around about a 50% chance of winning compared to a flag and a number of other patterns that are just so much more efficient. Anyway, this is fouled. It's now looking like it wants to run to the downside, but look at this. Look at it. It's quite ugly. It's got the scope to run to the downside back to those prior highs, and I would look for support around those areas. I'd expect it to be running over. No trade there for me anyway, but it's more looking at the pattern and how reliable some of these patterns are or aren't, as the case may be. Let's quick look at pound yen. For those that are looking at the pound yen, talking about this sort of movement we'd seen, but that's pushing up. It's not quite so convincing as the euro yen. The pound yen just lagged behind a little bit there. Got news out, of course, later on today. Why am I even looking at it? Right, Aussie CAD. No surprises here. Lower trends on the Aussie New Zealand. This is taking its time. Still largely in a trend. I'm in a short on this, but it's slow. But it's got the trend to the downside. We'll see what develops from it. But it's, as I say, very slow. But I expect it to be slow. We see a lot of periods on this, and this is understanding your currencies here. Aussie New Zealand. It spends a lot of time consolidating. We've seen it here. We're seeing it. If it's going to work, it's going to start breaking down at some point. I'm looking at today, maybe we'll get the S1 hit at some stage. We did have the spiky bit of price action down there yesterday, but that was the old 10 o'clock shuffle. Anyway, right, that's it on Forex. It's just quickly for you guys that are looking at gold, oil, and some of the indices. Let's just have a quick skim through then. So gold, well, no surprises here. Continuing to the downside at the moment. Stronger dollar. Seeing this continued move to the downside here. Oil. Oil. Well, yesterday peaked a little bit there. It was looking all right at one stage. It's but rolled over, corrected a little bit more. Break of these lows might see a bigger correction. Of course, we've got OPEC meeting, so probably best avoided until they're finished their chitter chatter. But has come off a little bit. Equity markets, the CSI 300 catching its bounce again. It's sort of very uncertain market at the moment, but structurally it's changed here. It's got higher lows coming through. It's done a couple of higher lows pushing through there. It's bouncing off its weekly pivot there. Yeah, yesterday it's seen a bit more of a clearer move and looks a bit more positive there. The Nikkei gapping down again, a bit more negative. I'm looking at this. I keep on talking about this level here, and that's the key level of when it really becomes more significantly bearish, a break of that area, but it's not looking pretty at the moment. It's just stalling where it is. If you're looking for the exits, it might be it if you're long. Nifty 50 also breaking the trend line. I was talking about the trend line yesterday, currently breaking that trend line again. It's structurally changing here, so we're seeing these equity markets looking softer at this stage. The Aussie 200 being a bit of an exception. It's overall, but having said that, of course it kicked in yesterday and sold off, but today it hasn't sold off too much and managing to hold in there. S&Ps, these are having their correction. As I said yesterday, we might see a more of a correction, and well, we are seeing more of a correction coming through on these markets at the moment. Consolidated sort of move around here. Non-farmers may give it the boost that it needs at some stage on Friday, tomorrow. Nasdaq again, lower highs here. Just looking like they're going to get a bit of a retrace, or more of a retrace. They are retracing, Kim, but a bit more of a retrace at the moment. Those three markets, or a lot of those equity markets. And talking, well, I hadn't read until later that there'd been a downgrade on the a lot of German stocks, which certainly didn't help the DAX yesterday. And well, that's continued. We had its little bounce there off its quarterly pivot, but only for it to roll over again later and continue to sell off at this stage, along with the, as I say, along with the other indices at the moment. So it's not doing anything surprising. The FTSE, another one selling off at the moment. No real difference here looking at it from a daily perspective. There you go, quite a solid sell-off yesterday. It'd been consolidating nicely around these highs, but couldn't hold on. In fact, if you look at the wicks on these candles, how quite big some of them were relative to the time and the movement there, certainly relative to the bodies, maybe just showing us the fact that the market didn't have the oomph in there, the momentum to push it onwards. But certainly the momentum's in the downside at the moment. Solid downside kicking through at this stage. So that's it for me today. I wish you a great day's trading, and I will be back with you in the morning. So bye to all those YouTubers out there. Have a great day. Trade safely. Bye for now. Right.